Last week, the unconfirmed rumor that Pedro Pascal might be cast as Reed Richards in the MCU Fantastic Four film divided MCU filmgoers and fans pretty sharply, but as a comic fan, my assessment is pretty solid on this one. It's a good call. I rarely talk fan casts on this channel, but today I really want to dig into speculation on their casting specifics, why this is a good call, future plans, and especially why who they cast as Doctor Doom may make or break the MCU future forward. I'm Dan Umphin, and this is the Doomcast. First off, do me a favor, hit subscribe and the bell. I make about one of these videos a week. They are all great, so please don't miss even one. Now, the Fantastic Four are and have been the cornerstone of the Marvel Universe. The world's greatest comic magazine started in November 1961 with the last-ditch writing effort of Stan Lee before it was almost possible that Marvel Comics might have gone under, or at least changed directions pretty radically. Martin Goodman charged Lee and Kirby with the creation of a new superhero team because Justice League of America was selling so well at National Comics. And while the design and composition of the team definitely resembled Kirby's earlier Challengers of the Unknown from DC, Lee claims that the concept, powers, flesh and blood heroes, the Marvel method, all of that was his. Kirby disputes that and, well, disputed it till his deathbed. And it's definitely clearer than not that it was a collaborative process, but what is not disputed is the book's immediate success. Readers demanded more, and they got more. Some of the most editorially free stories in mainstream comics at the time, for sure. So when we look at how pivotal the MCU version of a Fantastic Four film is, simply because the survival of the MCU probably depends on them as a franchise, it's worth examining why most past Fantastic Four versions have failed or fallen short in one respect or the other. Of the notable attempts, there's the Josh Trank version most recently, the two Fox films, and then the Roger Corman version from 1994. All of them had their own bright spots. Even the first half of the Josh Trank version was actually pretty great. The second half, the major misses, as I see it, are the missing the heart and the spirit of the fun family dynamic outside of the overall character, but especially the character of Doctor Doom. Almost every time the choice gets made to either go too heavy or too light on the family dynamic, or too heavy or too light on levity, and consistently the idea is that Doctor Doom needs some kind of updating, and that generally kills the film. So understanding the family dynamic and the critical importance of casting a good Doctor Doom, why is casting a good Reed Richards critical to casting a good Doctor Doom? Because the two are foils for one another. Pedro Pascal, in my opinion, can nail a character at conflict with himself. Emotionally distant, a reluctant father figure, Reed's supposed to be older, keenly smart, a genius-level intellect rivaled by few others even beyond Tony Stark. John Krasinski was seemingly campaigned for, but historically, a square-jawed older man like Pedro Pascal resembles the classically depicted Reed. I'm convinced that that campaign for Krasinski came from some fans that are not as familiar with the classic comics, that have seen a couple of depictions of him, or maybe the CIA, I don't know, after seeing a recent Aaron Kuder drawing of the team. But Krasinski is, in my opinion, a little younger, kind of goofy looking. I don't dislike Krasinski as an actor. I do think Pascal is a better fit though. Personally, Krasinski was just fine as a variant role, but I honestly think he struck me as an older Peter Parker type than a Reed Richards in most ways. It's probably my familiarity with the older pipe-smoking 50s dad Reed, but I just feel like, although Krasinski is older than me, he still feels too young. As for the other four, I've seen Vanessa Kirby floated for Sue, Ebon Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm, and Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Sure, I've seen Matt Smith and Adam Driver rumored for Reed Richards. Too weird looking. Daveed Diggs as Ben Grimm. Don't hate it. Javier Bardem as Galactus. Great, but I think I have a better role for him. Margot Robbie as Sue Storm. Don't hate it either. Personally, I think she's got astonishing range for a classical matinee idol looking actress, but I don't necessarily think that a known actor or actress should be the only choice, which is kind of why I hate fan casts. Whoever embodies Doctor Doom is going to have to hit some very specific criteria. Doom is fully self-actualized. He's full of earned arrogance. Absolutely no updating of this character is required for the screen. Play Doom straight out of the comics, a gypsy usurper of the throne of Latveria whose mother died, set him on a quest to try and speak to her in the afterlife through tech he invented, and then that ends up accidentally foiled by Reed Richards, leaving him scarred. His love for Sue Storm still very real, his jealousy very intense for Reed Richards, but this guy needs to be a sorcerer and super scientist who wears silver armor and a tunic and cape unironically and just owns the shit out of it. And he's scary as fuck too. The worst and most deadly combo of Stephen Strange and Tony Stark that the casual non-comic MCU fan could possibly imagine, and worse. All of the secrets of camouflage, everything that Tony Stark isn't. Also intensely likable, prone to winning very frequently, a strong sense of right and justice, even if his methods of accomplishing it are violent, undiplomatic, and forcible, to say the least. Basically, the pinnacle of human potential weaponized, BPD personified, right? A guy who is just really named Victor Von Doom and kept it. And they absolutely never show his unmasked face on camera. For any reason, literally do not change a goddamn thing. That, like Thor, is the only way that the character makes any sense whatsoever and actually works. You have to lean completely into the weirdness. This is a character to make 12-year-olds go, wow, that's cool. And guess who you want to see your movie? Yes, also 43-year-olds. Doctor Doom is Darth Vader, Thrawn, and the Emperor all at once. That said, even though I don't need a famous actor to play Doctor Doom, I'm all in for anybody with a track record of truly malevolent intensity, capable of projecting a whole character through eyes inside of a metal plate. So, if I gotta put names to it, Michael Fassbender, Javier Bardem might make great ones. Cillian Murphy, Giancarlo Esposito, even Christoph Waltz might play Doom very well, although Christoph Waltz, while European and very intense, is also kind of comical in his facial expressions and mannerisms, and I don't know how that would work. But if it's through a mask, I don't know. But as I've said, the critical elements are leaning into the unique, time-tested dynamics that made the comics last, and simply not fixing what isn't broken. I'm extremely wary of Matt Shakman anyway, and Matt Shakman's statement that Always Sunny in Philadelphia would influence the Fantastic Four, just as I've become extremely put off by how much Rick and Morty has influenced Phase 4 of the MCU. Do not get me wrong. I love both of those shows, but this isn't that. The Fantastic Four isn't without humor or levity, but it's definitely not a comedy about 5 of the worst human beings in Philadelphia or any other city. Always Sunny is hilarious because everybody in that show is a piece of shit, and Fantastic Four is charming because it's like a fun, if not rough around the edges, non-traditional family who are all kind of the best of people in their own way. Kind of the way Gunn portrayed the Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU already. Your roadmap and dynamic is already right there, Marvel. All you have to do is point the nullifier and pull the trigger. Anyway, if there's anybody that you think you're keen to see play any one of the roles that I mentioned here, maybe somebody I hadn't thought of at all, let me know in the comments. Either way, thanks for watching. This has been the Doomcast. We'll see you next week.